Hello and welcome. My name is Abigail Opiah and we're at the Tech Capital's Infra AI Summit in Athens, Riviera. Joining me is David Mitchell, founder and CEO of XYZ Reality. David, thank you so much for joining me today. How have you found this whole experience?
Amazing, yeah. Great location, great people as always at these events. Really enjoyed it so far, yeah.
And
Bit chilly though for Greece, right?
I completely agree. It was warmer earlier though, so we just got a bit of bad luck. But I wanted to talk a bit about your panel session. You know, you were the last one, but yet obviously the room was still full and people still had nice engaging conversations, and obviously you had quite a lot to say on stage. Tell me one of the key points that you wanted to get across on that panel.
The key point for me is really that there was a lot of talk about, the requirements to build a data center throughout the day. My particular focus, we hear power all the time, water, etc., but my focus is more on the labor and the resource side, on the coal face of construction, out in the field, physically building these data centers. So a little bit about myself, I suppose. I'm David, founder and CEO at XYZ. My background's construction. Father was a builder, learned to walk on a building site, first tool was a shovel. And really kind of grew up through the industry, eventually building data centers around Europe. And what I saw along that journey was an opportunity to dramatically improve how we deliver these data centers.
I think it's really interesting because obviously growing up in construction, you tend to not navigate towards this specific industry. It's not like an industry where everyone knows you build houses, you build...
Yes.
Yeah, whatever. But tell me what navigated you towards the data center industry. I mean, aside from like seeing the boom in infrastructure and technology and how it was going to navigate the rest of the world, tell me that led you there.
Yeah, well, I started off building houses with my father, like everyone else probably, in construction, and then moved into commercial construction management, became an architect for all my sins, practicing in Paris, and then got the call for London, so moved over to London, built the Shard, Battersea power station, many more iconic buildings, but then there was this wave of, rush in the data center market, and I got the call to enter that space, and I was like, wow, they want to build these facilities. They're, massive, complex facilities in a fraction of the time you get to build other facilities. And there was quite a new buzz about that, and I went for it, and I didn't look back at the time. But it's funny how in that space itself I saw an opportunity to improve it even more so, and hence I founded XYZ on the back of that.
It makes sense, and I feel like a lot of people really glamorize like the aspects of it. So you've got the chips, which is glamorized, you've got liquid cooling, which is glamorized, but the infrastructure, the actual creating the construction behind the buildings that house all of these things,
yes,
it's not really that glamorous, it's not really that spoken about, it's not really that like pushed to the forefront as an opportunity for people to get into the industry in that way. So tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, I think we have incredible people in the construction industry. Like, I don't want to start breaking down crying, but they're like resilient. They always adapt to change. They'll do whatever it takes to get the project done. I think it's a very exciting industry to be in at this time, and we need to attract more people into it. Outside of data centers, even, fundamentally, we're humans. Without the built environment, that's kind of what makes us human, right? So we need more people to come into the industry, train up as the trade workers, and get out there and start building. It's a great career, great salaries. I think a lot of the trade workers now are getting paid more than desk workers, right? So that's an incentive to actually take a double take and look at the industry again.
And if you look at you founded XYZ, and then when it started peaking, I know AI has a lot to play with that, but tell me what has been the most pivotal moment in founding the company, and when did you start to see a upward trajectory of more?
Well, I thought back in 2013, 2014 we were at that hockey stick moment, and here we are again now in 25, and we just cannot build it fast enough. So who knows what the future holds? I mean, my last panel we were on, they were talking about all the innovation that's coming. I think, the lesson learned here is the future is unpredictable, and we have to be prepared for even more scale in the future, perhaps. I'm optimistic about AI. I think it's going to be a net benefit for mankind, but I think like the infrastructure required to deliver that, I don't think we're ready for it, and I think we need to really pay attention to the labour force coming into the industry as well.
And tell me a bit about like the background work that goes behind, construction, especially in the data center space, because I know it's not just as easy as getting land, planning permission. Like what is the process like, and how has your team managed to navigate all of that?
So I mean, fundamentally, you're telling people to. There's a large workforce around Europe, but we're shifting from one location to the other. We're kind of the flap regions or whatever, and you're trying to get people to, move away from home, away from their families, because they're the only skilled labor available, and ship them over to other countries in a rural location to build a data center. It's not an easy task by any means, right? And eventually, we're already seeing the strains on the supply chain right now. It's gonna get worse and worse, right? So, my philosophy at XYZ is that we enable a future workforce, a fully autonomous workforce, by giving them the technology to do the jobs faster and more efficiently, but also lower the barrier to entry for other people in other industries to come in. So those maybe working in a petrol station or, retail can come into the industry a lot easier by just putting on this headset we've developed. They can have the skill set of a 40-year veteran, right? And actually be 5 times more effective in the job. And that's what we're building at XYZ.
I think that's brilliant. Tell me a bit about the company's growth trajectory. So I'm quite interested in what you've got planned, what you've got in the works. I know most people like to keep these things secret, but if you can give a vague idea of where you see the company in the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah. Well, look, we're a startup founded in 2017. We're a hardware startup, so it took us a little bit longer time to get to market. We want to go global. We've raised about 50 million venture capital right now. We're about 110 staff deployed all over North America, all over Europe. We're in Africa, we're in India. We're just relentless, and we're not stopping until we change the world, and that's our mission.
Love that. That's brilliant. And when we come back in, the next 12 months, might not be here, might be here, we don't know. But conversation-wise, where do you think the industry will be at that point? Because obviously, right now you've discussed a bit about, putting a bit of pressure because of the lack of supplies and stuff like that. What do you think the conversation will shift to in 12 months' time?
I think, we're touching on it here today about delivery, but, the last few years has been buy, buying land, getting it all ready, getting it through all the process. Now we have to build and execute. Now the stress is going to come on the delivery and the supply chain. We think we've seen it up to this point. I don't think so. I think that's the conversation that's going to be happening going forward, that how do we actually deliver everything that we said we would deliver. And that's an opportunity for us. I mean, we're already seeing people in the past who said, no, we're good. Now they're saying, we want to do business with you. And we're closing, a key symptom of that is we're closing deals now in 16 days, where it used to take us 3 to 6 months. So the demand is getting more and more so on, we need help to deliver this infrastructure.
Like that. Well, thank you, David. That was absolutely brilliant. I think we can round up by saying, I guess, just any kind of advice that you have for those people in the industry that are looking to get in but don't have, maybe not the best experience, or just don't know where to put their foot in. What would you say?
I say don't be afraid. It can be intimidating, maybe from the outside, but there's huge opportunities out there. I mean, there's sites all over the world looking for people right now, and they're crying out for them. So yeah, just be prepared for maybe a faster, more exciting environment, I would say. The pressure is on, but that in itself brings its own perks, right? You feel like you have purpose. And I think it's great to see what you can pull off as it's a lot of disparate teams coming together on a temporary site for a temporary amount of time, and what you can achieve in that time frame. So I think, look into it. Don't be afraid. Reach out to people on LinkedIn, and you'd be surprised what will happen from there.
Perfect. I think that's a great way to end this interview. Thank you again for your time.
Cheers.
And as for you at home, thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out all the latest news at www.thetechcapital.com.